Hello everyone, welcome to the final day of the Chessable Masters 2022. And in this game we will highlight Pragnanandha's endgame masterpiece against Ding Liren. Pragnanandha showed maturity in this game. It feels like he played like Magnus Carlsen, a Magnus type of endgame, by the young phenomenon, Ramesh Babu. Pragnanandha. Check it out. He was white. Play d4. Ding Liren went for d5, c4, e6. Okay, and c3, knight f6, knight f3, c5. Takes, takes. Ding Liren goes for the IQP here, the Tarash. The pawn on d5 is an isolated queen pawn. Pragnanandha went for bishop d5, bishop e7. Okay, an important note here, white cannot capture this one and take d5 because the bishop takes c3, you lose your queen. Right. So Pragnanandha went for e3, maintaining the pressure on d5 with rook d1, knight, queen, and rook attacking d5, bishop e6 protecting d5, bishop into d3, h6, okay, bishop h4, knight c6. Black has completed his development here. Queen a4, king b6, rook d2, protecting pawn on b2, rook f8, castles, rook into c8. Black is actually doing better with rook on the c file, open c file, centralized rook, protecting d5. h3, all right, taking away the g4 square, safe square for the queen as well, the Luft. King f8, okay, nice moment here for Ding Liren. Okay, the point of king f8 is that if, let's say, in this position, black cannot play d4 at this point because takes, if you take, knight takes, if you go rotate d4, there's bishop h7 check. So Ding had to play this king f8. Yeah, let's play king f8. So furthermore, he can get rid of his isolated pawn. So Pragnanandha had to retreat the bishop to b1, preventing d4. Knight a5, all right, the threat is knight c4, threat on b2, and the rook on d2. Pragnanandha was alert, a good move, a nice reaction with queen b5, blocking the threat of the queen, and still maintaining that attack on d5. So knight c4, takes, rook e2, takes, the process of elimination, takes, all right. Still equal points after all the exchanges. Bishop c8 protecting b7, rook to d1, pressuring d5 most of the time. Knight d7 takes, right, double up on d5, knight to c5, knight d4, temporary blockade, okay, to fix that weakness on d5. Bishop d7, rook a5, keeping an eye on the fifth, especially that pawn. Yeah. Bishop into a4, knight e2, nice counterplay. The bishop was attacking the rook. Pragnanandha counters it with also an attack on rook on c3. Rook goes to c4, rook d4, all right, eliminating the defender of the knight and the bishop. Nice move, b6. The pawn protects the knight protects the bishop. Rook a7 check. Ding Liren sacrifice his IQP, right? Takes. He went for activity, yeah, in exchange for pawn. Rook to d1, Pragnanandha had to regroup. Cannot move the bishop to c2 here, of course, because the rook will just go b2 and it's good for black. So rook has to protect the bishop from the second rank. Black has an active rook, but white has an extra pawn. Okay. Knight c3, bishop e6, all right, rook c1, g5, rook c2, very patient. Keeping an eye on the a2 pawn. The knight keeps an eye on the bishop. Rook to b4, rook b2, all right, knight a4, takes on b1. King h2, rook b4, knight into c3, king f6, all right. This is interesting. King f6 is actually good, but this is questionable. King g7. I thought when Ding went for king f6, he goes for king e5, and normally in the endgame you have to centralize the king, activating the king on a central square. Okay, this is a questionable decision by Ding to go king g7. I'm not too sure about this move. Yeah, that was his first mistake. Okay, but not a blunder yet. Rook into c4, rook d3. Rook c8 was played by Ding. He missed this saving move here. It's a draw after g4. Because after take, taking g4, king d3, bishop f5. The rook is protecting c3. And if you attack the bishop, you just attack the rook. The rook has to move back. You have bishop f5. And you push e4, just take. All right, 3 points are scattered, but black can go for the a pawn as well. So this is just pretty equal. And 95% or all rook endings are drawn, especially when you have the equal number of pawns. Rook c8, a3. From here on, Pragnanandhaa was very precise. A Magnus type of endgame. Rook a8, 92. Okay. Putting the pawn opposite to the color of the bishop. That was nice. Bishop c4, rook c3, takes. All right. b5, king d3. Rook a4, rook to b3, king b6, king c3. Idea would be king b2 to protect a3, then the rook can take b5. Ding shifts, king b2, rook c5, all right, the rook shift, protecting from this rank. Rook c3, b5. Okay, a minor slip by Pragnanandhaa with rook c2 because Ding had this rook b3. But anyways, it's still winning for white. King b3 would have been better. But rook c2 is not that bad though. Pragnanandhaa found this move, king a2. It's a pretty good move. Clearing the space for the rook. h5, rook to b2, d5, and finally king b3, threatening king b4. h4, king c3 first. Check another king b4. This is the winning move by Pragnanandhaa. What a move. Distracting the rook. If the rook attacks that pawn, you can just simply capture it, and the e pawn just goes all the way. Ding had to keep an eye on b5, but Pragnanandhaa had this. What a move. Although it was also possible for Pragnanandhaa to go for b2, but this is easy. Yeah? This is simple king a4. Look at that. Rook is attacking b5. Yeah? Rook takes e4, king takes. 5 check, king b6. It was also possible to go king c6. Okay, the main theme in this endgame is if you put the rook behind your pawn, right? Okay, there's no Tarash rule for black. Black's drawing chances is to move his rook from behind, but white always has rook a2. So king b6, all right, king b7, king c6, king c5, and now king b6, rook a2. All right, with this rook on a2 and rook from here, this becomes a passive rook, winning for white already. 5a4, right, g4, king c6, nice one. g5, king b6, a5. Okay, last trick. Black wants to go for f3. Okay, you have to be careful if you go a6. Now f3 actually saves the game for black. So you got to be careful. This is a pawn breakthrough, right? Because if you take on f3, he has to take on h3. Okay, if you go a7 here, h2. If you go rook a1, then rook f8. Because even if you promote, for example, the rook will just take, right? And if you go king to b7, that's rook f7. And here, just go back. Yeah. That's a draw. One simple finesse by Pragnanandhaa f3. No counterplay. G takes h3, G takes a3, rook b, king c7. Attacking the pawn on f3, ask pawn not to push. You cannot take, it's too late, a7. If you go rook c3, king e7, rook d3, king e7, rook e3, and king f7, the rook cannot go from the 8th rank to protect the promotion. It's the same case here. Check, king, check, and then king move. Ding Liren resigned. He cannot stop the promotion of the pawn. And you have here a 16-year-old playing a masterful endgame. This guy, this kid, has a bright future ahead of him. This is a Magnus type of game. This is a future world champion, yeah, coming up. We will see in the years to come. Pragnanandhaa is coming so fast. The Pragnanandhaa train is coming so fast. He beats Magnus twice. He also beats Ding Liren, world number 1, world number 2. Well, what more can you ask for from this boy? Let's watch out for the future of this kid. Alright guys, thank you for watching and thank you for supporting our channel, Charles Max Chess and Charles Max Entertainment on Facebook and YouTube. This is Coach Oliver.